Just when you thought things at Riot Games couldn't get any worse, more allegations come out and keep adding water to this already sinking ship. So 2 days ago on May 17th, a transgender Valorant pro that's currently signed to the European Valorant Champions Tour partner, Apex, members of the Shopify rebel named Florescent, or Ava Eugene, had a document dropped on them that discussed an alleged case of sexual assault and sexual violence that happened on January 3rd, 2024. Now, in this document, the victim, who was staying anonymous and taking the name Bricks, goes over how the relationship was very toxic, that they would try to break up fairly often and get back together relatively quickly over a short amount of time. Bricks was saying that Ava would brag about cheating on Brick with other women in their 20s. One time is going as far as calling Brick's mom just to talk to Brick. Now, important context to this all is that this happened around the 2022, 2023 time and ended around 2024. Again, January 3rd is when it happened, when Brick started this at 15 and Ava was 16 at the time. So they were minors, and I believe when it happened in January 3rd, 2024, Brick was either 17 or 18 at the time, but I don't know that for sure. So Ava's stories of apparently cheating with women also back when he said they were 20 was already weird enough, but the constant gaslighting of Bricks and text messages that Bricks has shared in the document and what Ava has publicly put out already really just hits that weirdo meter, considering what the rest of the document says about what Ava did to Bricks. Now, the alleged sexual assault happened on January 3rd, 2024, as I said earlier. And leading up to it, Bricks already said that she didn't really feel comfortable doing sexual things with Ava because they had already been in no contact for about a month as this happened because of old pregnancy scare that Ava apparently had happened because she said that she only liked to do it raw without protection. And basically, Ava responded after Bricks said that she wasn't comfortable having sex and said that she didn't want to have any sex with her. Said, if you don't have sex, I really don't want to see you anymore. And honestly, real nice, real smart. That's not weird or predatory at all from you, Ava, considering the power dynamic you have in this relationship and the gaslighting that she had done previously to Bricks up to this point. So Ava Ubered Bricks to her house and changed Bricks' password on her phone so she couldn't see where she lived. And I mean, why are you changing passwords on someone else's phone? That's invasive and super creepy. And also, I get sometimes you want to withhold your privacy and not let everyone know who it is, but this is someone that you dated for at the very least around 6 months to a year, off and on, breaking up fairly often, but you were also friends before this. So why exactly is it such a big deal that Bricks would know where Ava lived? I mean, it just seems super weird, super unnecessary, and also just invasive. After a while, though, they did end up having sex, and once they were done, Bricks said that she experienced a lot of pain, that the experience was very painful, and she was also bleeding down there afterwards. After a few hours, they took a nap together, and then Bricks woke up with a call from her mom. Her mom said that she wanted to go home. She was missing scrims, and Bricks obviously agreed because she was underage at this point. So she woke up Ava and said, I need you to unlock my phone, and I need to go home, and I need you to call me an Uber to go home. And Ava doubled down and said that she wanted to have sex again, that Bricks would regret not having sex with her again. So after about half an hour of Bricks struggling and just constantly telling Ava no, she doesn't want to have sex, she just needs to go home, eventually Bricks gives in and just lets Ava have her way with her because she kind of figured that there was no other way for her to get home and get out of this messed up and really bad situation. And after it happened, Ava called an Uber for Bricks. Bricks went home in the Uber, and she cried the entire way home and went to therapy after. It took her months to really understand and wrap her head around the trauma that she had really gone through and what events she actually had gone through. So it's a pretty messed up situation there when it happened. That's clear sexual assault, sexual violence there, and someone that really doesn't know how to take a no well. Someone that just needs to just maybe stop. So in the document also, Brick shared several pictures of the text conversation between her and Ava well after the sexual assault happening. Basically, through the entire text exchange, Ava is trying to downplay what she did to Bricks, acting like Bricks was misremembering the entire event and saying that Bricks must have remembered the incident very differently than Ava did because that's just not how that played out in Ava's head. But no, the entire text document shows that Bricks was being very respectful, very kind, and saying that I still love you. We're still really good friends, but I just felt like it was bad. What you did wasn't good, and Some of the text shows that Bricks was going to report Ava and wanted to know when Ava would actually be back in Toronto, where Ava was and where they both are. And Ava said that she didn't know, and she didn't know when she's going to be back. And Bricks wanted to give her the time to get back, but if she said she wouldn't be back or tell her where she was just going to report it anyway to the proper authorities, because that's what happens when someone does sexually assault you. That's what you have to do. So that doesn't even get into the other acts of gaslighting that Ava did draw, or that Bricks showed in the document, or allegedly about other ex-girlfriends that Ava had, and also other times. For instance, one time where Ava went over to Bricks' house when Bricks' parents were out of town and got into a fight with Bricks and ran into the washroom and threatened to end her life. And that's a really fucked up thing to do, because for a while I believe that if you threaten to end your own life for attention's sake because of an argument, because someone you love gets into an argument with you, I think that's fucked up. I think that can mess up someone who doesn't know how to process and handle that situation right, especially a 15-year-old girl. I think that's incredibly fucked up to do. Now, this document came out on May 17th, and since then, Ava has put a public statement denying everything that Bricks had said in the document that she had alleged. But there were also some pretty damning pieces of evidence that seems to point to this document and the accounts that she was making mostly being true. Again, you do have Discord messages and text messages going through talking about the event, but you also have a tweet from an alleged private Twitter account of Ava's that not many people follow, that said something that is really disgusting and really disturbing, that says, "Why isn't rape legal?" I don't have any words to what I think about that. I'm speechless. If that is Ava's alt, and she did say that, I mean, that makes it really hard to say the other allegations aren't true, because it points everything in the same direction. And I just have to wonder, if that is Ava's alt, why would you ever possibly tweet that? Why would anyone ever tweet that? But why would you particularly ever tweet that, considering your history? Now, after all the allegations were out, the official Valorant Champions Tour, or VCT, Twitter put out a statement that basically said that they're taking the allegations seriously, they're going to follow up the proper legal channels, and they're going to see how it affects the future of Florescent or Ava with the Shopify Rebels team that she's on, or even as a member of the VCT partner Apex. Now, in the post, they didn't actually say Florescent or Ava specifically. Rather, a community note underneath the post had to add who the VCT account was talking about, and people also in the comments were quick to call out that the VCT Twitter didn't actually say who it is, who did the sexual violence, what it was happening to, and it was criticizing them, saying that they have to actually say who it was. It's really fucked up that they don't. But one thing that I also saw a lot of was comparing it to another former Valorant pro who was alleged of sexual assault as well, Sinatra, and how they didn't give him any grace. They dropped his full legal name, government name, and everything, and said that he did this, and a few days or weeks later they banned him from competitive play. And they were trying to, some comments were saying that it's because that it's a transgender woman, and that that Riot has gone woke, and that they didn't want to announce who it was because they didn't want to see extra backlash, or be seen as non-progressive, or whatever the hell they wanted to really be seen as. And they are trying to show that I don't really know actually the difference. I mean, the double standard, I guess, maybe, but calling out the difference in reporting and trying to say that Sinatra was treated unfairly is not remotely the right message here. The allegations, if true, against Florescent, then she should absolutely be banned from the pro and competitive scene like Sinatra was. Not that Sinatra was some martyr that was treated unfairly, as some people are trying to make him sound like. Now, considering the difference in reporting that people are talking about, it does blow my mind the links that people will go to defend terrible people when they do bad things, just to use the fact that Florescent is a transgender woman as a fuel to justify their heinous acts and defense of someone who frankly isn't defendable in this case. Calling it woke or other really stupid arguments, it doesn't help the situation. It actually just makes it worse, makes it harder for other victims eventually to come out and take it seriously. Now, when Riot does their investigation, and if or when this goes through the legal channels, then we can really see what actually happened or what didn't happen, if what Bricks allege is true about Florescent, or if it was just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But there is a bunch of evidence that kind of points it. I can't say for now. I'm not any form of legal expert or scholar here, but it could take a long time before we really know what happened. It took Sinatra's case, for an example, over a year and a half easily. So we don't know what will actually happen or how long this could possibly take. I do hope, if it is true though, if Florescent did actually do these bad things, that she receives the punishment fit for this action. She gets in legal trouble for this, cannot compete in Valorant anymore, and banned. I think that's what's the right punishment here, but we won't know until then. So until then, we're kind of left with this information, with what we have now until more information comes out. So that's about it for this video. See ya.